Greetings kings and queens and welcome to Arma 3. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to use triggers to group up with other units on the battlefield. Sometimes you just love the girl. It's not that you were too late. Maybe it was just a friend that married her first, or he was about to marry her. But let me tell you this. If the priest says, "Should anyone here present know of any reason that this couple should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace." You know what you should do? Instead of speaking up, just pick up your pistol and shoot the groom in the head. What happens then is at that exact moment, the girl will fall in love with you. Check this out. I shoot. And
hey, what happened?
Look at that. Now we're married. Yeah, this is definitely how it happens in the real world. Anyway, let's take a look at how I made this happen in the 3D editor. Step 1. Whoops. Step 1. Plan the scenario logic. What I mean by the scenario logic is essentially how the scenario will play out. Now you can do this verbally, you can simply do this in your head, or you can plan it out visually like I do. On screen right now you can see the elements that are required to visually plan out a scenario. This is, in my opinion, the best way to plan out a scenario before you make it. Now here's how the wedding scenario was planned out. Notice that I don't include every single unit that was on the battlefield, and also I don't include every single effect and everything that is going on in the scene. That would make this chart way too complicated. The main purpose of the planning stage is to help you focus on the things that matter the most. In the wedding scene, I created a trigger that once activated made the bride join my group. Additionally, I also created a task and assigned it to myself. The task is completed once the groom is killed. In order to make this happen, I had to use some code. To clarify, in the Arma 3D editor, you can either use the interface itself to create the scenario logic, or you can use scripting code, which is similar basically to programming code. However, don't be alarmed, because the code that is required to make this happen is not complicated. You can simply copy and paste it to your scene and it should work. Alright, now let's take a look at the wedding scenario in the 3D editor. Now there's a lot of stuff going on in this scene and I don't want to explain all of it because it would just be repetitive and, well, boring. So instead, I decided to reduce the scene to its core components, which is me, the player, the bride, the priest, the groom, the create task, the set task state, and finally the trigger itself, which triggers this whole thing to actually happen. Now let's take a look at the properties of each individual unit on the battlefield. Starting with the player, we see there is this code over here. Now this creates the group for the player, and the name of the group is Forced Marriage. Make sense? You can simply copy and paste this code and you can change the name of the group to whatever you want. The properties of the bride is much simpler because it only needs a name. Now we have the priest, and the priest is also just given a name. And the groom finally is also just given a name. Now let's take a look at the trigger that triggers this whole thing to happen. Now we have two things going on. We have the condition, which is once the groom is not alive, the bride joins the player's group. We have a condition and then we have the activation. Once the condition is met, the trigger activates that function or that code. Now in the wedding scenario, we also saw that the task got completed once I killed the groom. Now in order to make that happen, we have to create a task and assign it to the player. This is done by creating a create task. Now there are 4 things that you need to fill out. A task ID needs to be set, otherwise the task won't work. This is very, very important. Now you need to fill out a title, a description, and change the state of the task to assigned. The task is then synchronized to the player. The task is also synchronized to a setTask state, which changes the state of the task. And finally, it is also synchronized to the trigger. So, once the trigger is activated, the task changes to succeeded, and you see that little pop-up saying task completed. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope this tutorial has helped you out in some way. If it did, then please drop a like and a comment on this video. It really helps me out. If you didn't like it, then let me know what you would like to see changed and I will try to improve upon it. In the next video I was thinking about looking into multiplayer scenarios. If you have any ideas or suggestions of what you would like to see specifically in relation to that subject, then let me know in the comments down below and I will take a look at it and maybe I'll do it. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching and have an awesome day.